The world ended on Tuesday. You lost everything. Your house turned to radioactive ash. Your family became fragmented memories you try not to revisit at 3 in the morning. And now you're here shivering under a highway bridge covered in graffiti that doesn't mean anything anymore. Eating canned tuna that expired 3 years ago while something, and you still don't know what, howls for 100 meters away. The sound is high-pitched, almost human, almost. Congratulations! You survived the end of civilization, the missiles, or the virus, or the terminal economic collapse, or whatever the hell destroyed everything. Now comes the hard part, staying alive until Thursday. And before you ask me, no, that improvised structure made of cardboard and duct tape you call a shelter won't work. I know you thought using the no parking sign as a roof was creative. It's not. It's pathetic. I'm going to teach you how to build something that actually works. Something that'll keep you alive when nuclear winter arrives. Something that hides you from the things out there. But there's a detail, and this detail can save you or kill you, depending on how you follow this script. Oh, and if you want to learn how not to die in creative and humiliating ways in the apocalypse, hit that subscribe button now. Because in the next video I am going to teach you something you'll definitely need. But only if you raise still breathing after this one. So leave a like for the algorithm to know you still have a functioning opposable thumb. And comment survived if you make it to the end of this video without giving up on humanity. Let's begin. The clock is ticking, and in the apocalypse, time is literally life. You think any hole will do. Wrong. In the post-apocalypse, location isn't real estate luxury. It's raw, mathematical survival. And the difference between safe shelter and death trap is as thin as the wall of a discount camping tent. Here are the rules, and you'll thank me when that thing happens around day 4. I said I'd tell you what it is, not when. What to look for. 1. Moderate elevation. Not at the mountaintop you become a visible target for miles. Plus you'll freeze with 60 km/h winds. Not at the valley floor you become a swimming pool in any moderate rain, drowning in your own shelter like a rat in a sewer. Think mid-slope. Imagine a ruined Roman amphitheater. You want to be in the stands, not on the stage where the gladiators died. The physics here are simple. Cold air descends, warm air rises. Valley bottoms accumulate cold air like a natural freezer. Mountaintops expose you to all the elements. Mid-slope, the sweet spot. The Goldilocks zone of survival. 2. Water nearby, but not attached. Rivers bring life, and life brings predators. Always. Bears, wolves, alligators depending on your region, and worse, other desperate humans. Maintain to 100 to 400 meters distance. Close enough not to die dehydrated in 72 hours. Far enough not to wake up with bear tracks next to your face. Another crucial detail. Observe the flow. Rivers rise, sometimes 3 meters in an hour. Watermarks on trees tell you where flooding reaches. Ignore these marks and you wake up floating. If you wake up. 3. Natural cover dense trees, large rocks, thick vegetation. You want to be invisible from above. Drones might still be functioning. Military satellites, who knows? And from afar, binoculars are cheap and every smart survivor has one. Think of a deer fleeing from a wolf. Now you're the deer, and the wolf has night vision. A rifle with telescopic sight. And zero empathy. The best camouflage is always the one that doesn't look like camouflage. Your shelter should look like naturally fallen pile of branches, not recent human construction. Nature is chaotic. Be chaotic too. 4. Quick escape never, ever. Build a shelter with a single exit. You need minimum to escape routes. Preferably 3, because when they come, and they will come, you won't have time for logical reasoning, just panic, adrenaline, and pure survival instinct. Think this way. Obvious front entrance, disguised side exit. Emergency rear exit can literally be a hole you dig under the back wall. Test these routes during the day, at night, blindfolded. Because when shit hits the fan, your eyes won't work properly anyway. What to avoid like your life depends on IT because IT does. Valley floors, floods plus toxic gas accumulation. CO is heavier than air. Plus perfect natural trap for ambushes. Mountaintops, wind that rips out trees plus cold that kills in hours. Plus excessive visibility equals you ray a human beacon proximity to ruin urban structures. Constant looting plus territorial gangs plus residual radiation plus diseases plus rats the size of dogs. Areas without drainage. Your shelter turns to mud in 48 hours, then becomes swamp. Then becomes mosquito breeding ground. Then you get malaria and die delirious under dead or rotten trees. Wind knocks them down. You become a pancake. The end. REAL risk. If you choose wrong, you'll die. Simple as that. Hypothermia takes 3 hours in extreme conditions. Dehydration takes 3 days in hot weather, but a well-executed ambush by starving looters takes 3 seconds, 1 bullet, 1 knife, 1 large rock. Human creativity for killing never sleeps. Impact phrase, location is destiny. And destiny, in the apocalypse, is usually a shallow grave that nobody will visit. Step 2. Your hands aren't enough and neither are your teeth. You're not Bear Grylls. You won't cut wood with your fingernails while making philosophical comments to the camera. So let's be brutally practical. Here's the minimum kit to avoid dying while trying to build a shelter. Non-negotiable essentials. 1. Robust knife or machete. Not that little Swiss camping knife you got in the office gift exchange. We're talking about a 20 to 30 centimeters blade, carbon steel rust, but takes a beating, rubberized or solid wood handle. Something that cuts rope, wood, leather, and if absolutely necessary, meat. You get it. I won't draw a picture. Test the blade before trusting it. Cut thick rope. Hit hardwood with the blunt side. If it cracks or bends, discard it. A broken blade mid-construction means guaranteed injury. An injury in the apocalypse means infection. An infection means slow, painful death. 2. Small axe or hatchet for chopping thick branches 8 to 15 centimeters diameter. Don't try to tear off dead wood with just brute force. You'll waste precious energy, and energy is currency in the apocalypse. You don't recharge at an outlet, you recharge by eating, and food is scarce. A good axe has a 40 to 50 centimeters handle, balance head. Blade sharp enough to cut hair, but not so sharp it chips on the first branch. Balances everything. 3. Paracord rope minimum 15 meters. 250 kilograms resistance, used for tying structure, making traps, improvising tourniquets, creating clotheslines, fishing by unraveling internal threads, garroting. Okay, you get it. Paracord is gold. Literally, in the apocalypse, 10 meters of paracord is worth more than 10 grams of gold. Gold doesn't tie anything. Gold doesn't keep you alive. 4. Waterproof tarp or thick plastic. Minimum size, 3 by 3 meters if you don't have tarp. Use industrial garbage bags, those black 100-liter ones, but you'll need about 20 to 30, not pretty. But it works, and in the apocalypse, aesthetics kills less than hypothermia. Tarp protects you from rain, wind, dew, which silently soaks everything overnight, also serves as flooring, water collector. Improvised stretcher, versatility is survival. 5. Folding shovel for digging drainage trenches prevents flooding. Latrines because yes, you'll need to shit, and doing it away from shelter prevents diseases. And other things you'll need to bury. I won't elaborate. Use your imagination. The apocalypse is dirty, optional but very useful if you have IT. Folding handsaw, cuts thick wood with precision. That axes don't have. Work gloves. Your hands will turn to ground meat without them. Blisters get infected. Infection kills. Reinforced duct tape. Solves 40% of humanity's problems. Fixes torn tarps. Closes superficial wounds. Ties splints. Seals gaps. If you have a roll, treat it like a sacred relic. Tool improvisation. Don't have anything. Here you go. Knife. Sharpened chipped stone tied to wooden handle. Paleolithic technique. Works for 50,000 years. Axe. Heavy stone tied to long handle. Same thing. Rope. Vines. Long roots. Braided tree bark fibers. Labor intensive but possible. Tarp. Large tree bark. Overlapping giant leaves. Your own torn and stretched clothing. Real risk. Without proper tools, you'll get hurt. Guaranteed. And in the post-apocalypse, an infected cut doesn't become I'll go to the clinic. It becomes fever. It becomes gangrene. It becomes improvised amputation with hot axe. It becomes death. Impact phrase. In the apocalypse, your tools are your external organs. Lose them and you're already dead. You just haven't realized it yet. And before we continue, you noticed I still haven't told you what they are, right? The ones that howl. The ones that leave footprints. The ones that scratch tarps during the night. Don't worry. You'll find out. More or less when it's too late to change plans. Part 3. Basic structure. The skeleton of your refuge. Step 3. Building the impossible with twigs and stubbornness. Now comes the fun part. Building something that defies gravity, physics, and common sense. You have 3 classic shelter options. Let us go from simple I can build this drunk to I really do want to die today, so I'll do it right. The desperate man's classic. Fast, functional, fragile as self-esteem on social media. How to build. Find 2 robust trees to 3 meters apart. Test by pushing. If they sway, they don't work. Tie a strong horizontal pole between them, 1.5 meters from the ground. Use locking knot, not fisherman's knot. Lean poles from the bar to the ground, forming a 45 angle. Basic physics. Ideal angle to deflect rain and support weight. Cover with layers, first small horizontal branches, then dense foliage. Then tarp if you have it. Line the internal floor with dry leaves, moss, anything that insulates from soil, minimum 15 centimeters thickness. Visualization. Think of a skateboard ramp leaning against a wall. Now lie under it during a snowstorm at 3 a.m. while wolves sniff 50 meters away. Feel the problem. Minimal protection. But at least it's fast. PROS. Builds into the 3 hours, uses few resources, easy to abandon and rebuild elsewhere. Cons. Strong side wind. Knocks everything down. Side rain. You wake up soaked. Heavy snow. Structural collapse at 4 a.m. Thermal protection. Almost zero real risk. This shelter saves you from sun exposure and vertical rain. That's it. For temperatures below 10 C, you'll be cold. Below 0 C. Hypothermia in 6 to 8 hours without fire or decent sleeping bag. Option 2. A frame a structure more stable, warmer, more labor intensive. Sweet spot between effort and results. How to build. Find or create a long fallen trunk 3 to 4 meters. Or tie thick branches with paracord until you have that length. Rest one end on the ground, the other 1 to 1.5 meters high in a tree fork, or between two nearby trees. Lean poles on both sides, forming a perfect triangle. Geometry matters. Triangles are nature's most stable structures. Tie everything with paracord at 30 centimeters intervals. Rigid structure resists wind. Cover with progressive layers. Thick branches at base, medium branches, thin branches, dense foliage. Tarp if you have it. Completely close the rear entrance with branches and mud. Leave only the front open. 60 to 80 centimeters opening. Advanced improvements. Dig drainage trench around at 10 centimeters depth. Diverts rainwater. Build stone wall at entrance. Reflects campfire heat inward. Add chimney at upper rear. 10 centimeters hole for ventilation. Visualization. Think of a camping tent. Now remove the technology. Add existential desperation. And multiply the weight by 50 kilos of branches. Pros. Structurally solid. Retains heat reasonably well. Resists rain and moderate wind. Comfortably fits 1 to 2 people. Cons. Takes 4 to 6 hours to build. Properly visible if not camouflaged well. Difficult to transport. You abandon and rebuild. Real risk if you don't tie it properly. It collapses in the middle of the night. And waking up buried under branches while something sniffs outside isn't exactly relaxing. People have died this way. Truth. The safest, the most invisible, the most time-consuming for when you really want to survive. How to build. Dig a rectangular hole 1.5 meters deep to 2.5 meters long, 1 to 1.2 meters wide. Size for you to lie down. Plus equipment. Reinforce walls with large stones, vertical logs. Anything solid prevents collapse. Create roof structure with thick poles crossed in grid. Pattern supports earth weight. Cover the grid with layers, tarp or plastic. First waterproofing, then 20 to 30 centimeters of earth. Then branches and foliage. Camouflage. Leave small entrance 60 centimeters height x 50 centimeters width. At one end build door with interwoven branches that you pull inside when entering. Line the bottom with thick insulation, dry leaves, moss. Tarp minimum 20 centimeters. Critical improvements. Ventilation system. Improvised tube found PVC pipe, thick bamboo. Hollow branches that exits discreetly on surface. Drainage trench around and sloping downward. Water never enters. Antechamber at entrance. Small area where you remove dirty equipment before entering main. Shelter visualization. Think of a World War I trench. Now imagine sleeping in it by choice. Not military orders. Comfortable? No. Efficient? Absolutely. PROS. Invisible when well camouflaged. You literally disappear. Stable temperature. Earth insulates from heat and cold. Maximum protection against wind, rain, snow. Difficult to invade. Narrow entrance equals defensive bottleneck. Takes 8 to 12 hours of heavy work. Collapse risk if built wrong. Claustrophobic. Can flood if drainage system fails. Real risk. If it rains hard without adequate drainage, you can literally drown in your sleep. If the earth gives way, you're buried alive. Death by suffocation in 3 to 4 minutes. But if you do it right and test the structure before trusting your life to it, this is the safest possible shelter. Without modern equipment, the difference between shelter and coffin is just a matter of engineering, attention to detail, and a pinch of luck. Don't skimp on any of the three. And now an important reminder, if you are enjoying this content and want to stay alive, metaphorically speaking, subscribe to the channel now, because I still haven't told you how to get potable water without dying of dysentery, how to make fire without a lighter, how to find food without being poisoned, and trust me, you really want to know these things before day 3, because on day 3, hunger starts speaking louder than common sense. Like the video if you still have hope in humanity. And comment which of these structures you try to build. I want to know who has courage, or delusion, or both. there's still a lot of ground ahead, and many ways to die to avoid. Part 4. Thermal insulation and security. Step 4. Cold kills faster than you imagine. Predators. 2. You built the structure. Congratulations. Now comes the part that separates the living from the frozen, and the smart from the eaten. Your body continuously generates heat. 100 watts at rest, like an incandescent bulb. The environment steals this heat through conduction. Cold ground, convection wind, radiation night sky, and evaporation sweat, breathing. If you lose heat faster than you produce it, you die. Simple, elegant, inevitable. Ground insulation. Critical. The ground sucks heat like a vampire. On an open vein. 30 times faster than air. You need a barrier between you and the ground. Ideal materials in order of efficiency. Dry leaves, 25 to 30 centimeters compressed layer. Air pockets between leaves insulate. Basic physics. Interwoven thin branches creates airspace. Lifts you off ground. Tarp plus foliage. Perfect combo. Tarp blocks moisture. Leaves insulate cardboard if you looted urban ruins. Dry cardboard is thermal gold. Simple test. Lie on the ground for 5 minutes if you feel cold. Penetrating. It's not insulated enough. Add more layers until you feel nothing. Sleep directly on ground on a 5C night. Hypothermia. In for hours. Your body shuts down like a cell phone without battery. You simply don't wake up. Silent death. Almost peaceful. Sealing and camouflage. Gaps are killers. Cold air enters. Heat escapes. A 5 centimeters gap can drop internal temperature by 8C. And 8C is the difference between waking up and not waking up. Wet moss placing gaps. Dries. Expands. Seals perfectly. Mud plus straw. Primitive mortar. Surprisingly effective. Large crumpled leaves. Duct tape plus plastic if you're lucky enough to have it. Anti-detection. Camouflage. This is where you decide if you want to be invisible or a target. Rules. No straight lines. Nature doesn't make 90 angles. Neither should your shelter. Local color. Use vegetation from immediate surroundings. Bringing plants from afar stands out. Natural texture. Mimic natural formations. Pile of fallen branches. Not Hansel and Gretel cottage. Upper coverage. Overhead view is critical. Chaotically cross branches. High geometric shape. Perimeter. Traps. Don't rely only on luck. Create low-tech alert systems. Fishing line plus empty cans. 20 meters perimeter. Someone steps. Cans rattle. Dry branches strategically scattered. Impossible to cross. Without crackling. Unstable stack stones. Vibration knocks down. Noise alerts. Ventilation. Yes. You need IT. 100% sealed shelter equals slow suffocation from CO accumulation. Solution. Small upper hole 5 to 10 centimeters. So you chose terrain thinking about elevation, water, camouflage. You gathered improvised tools with trembling hands and desperate determination. You assembled the structure. Following basic physics and survival instinct, you insulated against homicidal cold. You camouflaged against hungry eyes, human and non-human, and now you're here, still breathing, still thinking, still trying. Maybe you'll survive, maybe not. The detail that will save or kill you. Remember I mentioned it at the beginning? Here it is. Your shelter is temporary. Don't get attached. Don't put down roots. Don't call it home. It's disposable tool. 3 to 7 days per location. Maximum. Then you dismantle evidence and move, because patterns kill. Predictability kills. Staying static kills. Who stays still becomes target. Who becomes target becomes statistic. The truth about them, they could be animals, they could be humans, they could be worse. But you know what the real truth is. You're one of them now too. Predator, prey, survivor, threat, in the apocalypse. These categories are fluid. You change roles depending on who finds you first. And now, you built the shelter, learned the techniques, understood the risks, but building was the easy part. The hard part is deciding, each dawn, if it's worth continuing. And that decision, my friend, nobody can make for you. Final phrase, you built a shelter, now build a reason to wake up inside it tomorrow. If you made it here and you race still breathing, or at least reading, leave a like, comment, survive, and subscribe, because survival is a skill and skills are learned one at a time, until you have enough to see the next dawn. See you in the next apocalypse, or not, depends on how many instructions you followed.